David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney+. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney+ every night.
Tonight, breaking news. 2 U.S. service members killed in an Iranian attack on an airbase in Jordan. This is the first time U.S. troops have been killed in combat since the fighting resumed 2 weeks ago. Another service member is missing. Videos circulating online show the impact of the 2 missiles and heavy smoke in the area. The chilling message tonight from Iran's supreme leader and how President Trump is responding. Dangerous severe storms and flash flooding in the Northeast, including New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. 100 million Americans on alert from Illinois to the East Coast. The warning to residents told not to travel in parts of New York City. Dramatic rescues across the region, cars submerged, water bursting into the subway. Those storms also disrupting air travel with more than 1,000 flights canceled. But it could bring some relief from the suffocating smoke from the Canadian wildfires. Our weather team tracking it all. President Trump making new claims about election integrity with just over 100 days before voters head to the polls for the midterms, and the new appeals court ruling on mail-in voting.
Get out of the car now! Get out! Get out!
The heart-racing moments on a Texas highway, a police officer jumping in to save a man trapped in a burning car. The stunning images tonight, a man rescued from a manhole after spending several hours trapped in Philadelphia's sewer system. Also tonight, why some are crying foul after Major League Baseball cracks down on the use of AI on devices in the dugout. And the countdown to a blockbuster World Cup final as Spain takes on Argentina, the defending champions. A matchup for the ages. The 19-year-old phenom up against one of the greatest of all time.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Whit Johnson. We begin tonight with breaking news. 2 U.S. service members killed and 1 missing after Iran launched missile and drone attacks against a military base in Jordan. Hostilities escalating following the collapse of that fragile ceasefire. This is the first time U.S. troops have been killed in combat since the fighting resumed 2 weeks ago. Videos circulating online appear to show the missiles hitting the airbase which houses U.S. personnel. 16 American troops have now been killed in this war. Here's ABC's Marcus Moore.
Tonight, new American casualties in the war in Iran. CENTCOM saying 2 American service members have been killed and another is missing after Iran launched a drone and missile attack in Jordan. Video circulating online appears to show multiple projectiles raining down from the night sky. Several appearing to hit the Mufawak Salti air base in Jordan, which houses U.S. personnel. 4 injured service members were evacuated to Jordanian hospitals and later released. Several others suffered minor injuries and have returned to duty. Tonight, there is no word on the condition of the missing service member. President Trump reportedly telling News Nation the deaths were very sad, but Iran could not be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. 16 Americans have been killed so far in this war and more than 400 wounded, according to the Department of Defense. These latest combat deaths are the first reported since the fighting restarted. And strikes on bases and facilities in the Gulf region raising questions about the status of American missile defense.
So we know that we're drawing down rapidly our global stockpiles of these missiles, and we're not able to produce them fast enough to quickly replenish those stocks.
CENTCOM launching another round of strikes tonight on Iranian targets, including surveillance sites and military logistics infrastructure. And tonight saying they redirected 5 ships and disabled another one trying to run through an American blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. Iran, meanwhile, has been targeting its Gulf neighbors, launching missiles and drones at American bases in Jordan, Bahrain, and Kuwait. The U.S. ally saying it has been repeatedly hit, accusing Iran of targeting civilian infrastructure. On Saturday, smoke seen billowing from an oil facility. And Iran is elevating its threats. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Hosseini Khamenei, who hasn't been seen publicly since he was severely wounded in the first days of the war, vowing, quote, unforgettable lessons for the American enemy. The escalation in this war coming as both sides now say the ceasefire negotiated in mid-June is over.
And Whit, as we're seeing both sides escalate the scope and the intensity of these strikes, ABC News is learning more about what's happening inside Iran. A family tells us 12 young Iranian men who were detained in connection with those mass protests back in January could soon be executed. Human rights groups said they were convicted in sham trials. Whit.
All right, Marcus, more for us tonight. Back here in the U.S., 100 million Americans are on alert for severe storms and dangerous flash flooding from Illinois to the East Coast. The dramatic rescues in the New York City area as flooding temporarily brought parts of the city that never sleeps to a standstill. This New York subway station inundated with water, the downpours disrupting air travel, concerts, and sporting events. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood.
Tonight, millions across the Northeast on alert as severe thunderstorms and flash flooding slammed the region after the area was choked by hazardous smoke from the Canadian wildfires. Torrential downpours causing flash flooding throughout the tri-state area, the storms bringing strong wind gusts and frequent lightning. In New York, this flooded expressway in Queens bringing traffic to a halt. Water up to the window of this submerged car. This sports car abandoned, its doors wide open. Police wading through waist-deep waters, bringing this woman to safety. Water bursting into this train station in Queens, soaking commuters. And this station turning into a waterfall. This time-lapse showing the storm also impacting preparations ahead of the FIFA World Cup final on Sunday. In Maryland, the storm bringing light hail to the town of Monrovia. Travel also impacted, the storms upending flight plans in the Northeast, forcing the FAA to declare ground stops throughout the storm zone. More than 1,000 cancellations and more than 5,000 delays. Some areas delayed for more than an hour. Days after smothering wildfire smoke blanketed the region, the rain finally pushing the toxic air out of the Northeast. But with the dangerous wildfires still burning in Canada, millions along the Great Lakes will face much more smoke and air quality impacts through Sunday. Out west, flash flooding from monsoon storms there turning deadly. Authorities in Arizona say a 29-year-old man is missing there after being swept away in fast-moving floodwaters. And in the South, the cleanup continues after devastating and deadly flooding. Arkansas sending 2 search and rescue teams to Texas for assistance.
And with the storm threat isn't over yet, another round expected through this evening. But look, there is some relief right here in the Northeast. All of this rain helping to push out some of that wildfire smoke. Whit.
All right, Morgan Norwood, thanks so much. Let's get right to ABC's meteorologist, Leslie Lopez. And Leslie, you're tracking that dangerous flash flooding and the smoke from those Canadian wildfires.
That's right. Right now, there is a severe thunderstorm watch in a wide area across the United States. Let me show you. This is heading into areas of the Midwest, all the way out towards the Northeast and moving down to the Mid-Atlantic. The severe thunderstorm watch bringing in heavy rounds of rain. In addition to that, flood watches are in place. And we also have this, a tornado watch heading into areas of Delaware, Philadelphia, getting out towards New Jersey. The timing will have additional rounds of rain coming through tonight, and then just after midnight, most of this rain should slow down. Now, the silver lining to all this rain, we just heard it, it is moving out a lot of that smoke, tamping down the particulates in the air. We are going to see another round, however, out towards the Midwest by tomorrow, anywhere from the Great Lakes to Chicago, while the Northeast clears out very nicely. Whit, I do want to mention the World Cup game. It'll be fantastic, sunny and 80 degrees.
We will take that. Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate it. Now to that dangerous parasitic outbreak sickening thousands of people and rapidly spreading across the U.S. Taylor Farms is now expanding that recall of iceberg lettuce to 27 states. Let's bring in ABC's Ike Ajachi. And Ike, this recall involves more than just shredded lettuce alone.
That's right, Whit. We're getting a better understanding tonight of just how large this recall really is. Taylor Farms has now released its full list of voluntarily recalled products they say may potentially be contaminated. And it's far bigger than the company first indicated. That shredded iceberg lettuce recall went out to 27 states, from Connecticut to Texas to Wisconsin, shipped between June 29th and July 16th. The full recall covers roughly 3 dozen items: bagged iceberg salads, shredded and chopped lettuce, and lettuce romaine blends sold to restaurants and stores with use-by dates running into early August. Tonight, the company is telling anyone who has it, throw it out. And the human toll is staggering. The CDC confirming more than 1,600 cases and nearly 100 hospitalized linked to lettuce served at Taco Bell locations in 5 states. The FDA's investigation traced it all back to a single supplier in Mexico. And tonight, the probe is still widening, with hundreds of more cases still pending. Whit?
Okay, Ika Jachi, our thanks to you. To politics now, President Trump is focusing on election integrity with just over 100 days before voters head to the polls for the midterms and the new appeals court ruling on mail-in voting changes. Here's ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Tonight, with 108 days to go until the midterms, a temporary victory for the Trump administration in its efforts to restrict voting by mail. A 3-judge appeals court panel in D.C. pausing a lower court order that blocked the Postal Service from moving forward with plans to only deliver mail-in ballots to approved voters on lists submitted by states. But that rule still held up in federal court in Massachusetts. President Trump blasting mail-in ballots in his speech on Thursday night.
Mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt.
Trump, who's himself voted by mail, now urges Congress to require voters to send in copies of their ID with their ballots. Other parts of what Republicans call the Save America Act would require voters to prove their citizenship when registering and force states to turn their voter rolls over to the federal government. But GOP leaders have said they don't have the votes to get it through the Senate. And there are new questions tonight about the administration's claim that more than 250,000 non-citizens are registered to vote in 4 states. Letters the administration has sent to officials in those states suggest the claims could be wrong, noting they're based on a preliminary review. The letters urge cooperation from the states to, quote, ensure the accuracy of the findings. Last month, a federal judge blocked the administration's use of a database known to have flaws to verify voter citizenship. The judge saying at the government's urging, some states have been actively removing citizens from voter rolls based on inaccurate information. The Homeland Security Secretary declining to answer questions about the data.
Mr. Secretary, is your same database accurate? Is the database even accurate?
Tonight, Nevada's top elections official calls the claims of non-citizen voters in his state wildly speculative. Experts say the administration's relying on data from Social Security with known gaps on the citizenship status of people born prior to 1978. Whit?
Stephen Portnoy, thank you. Now to the countdown to the World Cup final, one of the greatest of all time, taking on a 19-year-old phenom in a powerhouse matchup between Argentina and Spain. And the unprecedented security preps underway. Here's ABC's Christian Cordero.
Tonight, the stage is set for a championship Sunday unlike ever before. New Jersey hosting Spain and Argentina, winner takes all. It's the first World Cup match between the two countries in 60 years and pits teenage sensation Lamine Yamal against veteran superstar Lionel Messi. Messi shrugging off the pressure while speaking to fans in New York this weekend, saying he treats it as something natural. Spain, meanwhile, is unbeaten in 37 matches. A win tomorrow would break the record for men's international soccer. Through 7 games, goalkeeper Unai Simon has only given up 1 goal. An estimated 1.5 billion people are expected to watch tomorrow's final, from the Northeast to the Midwest to the South and well beyond. 26 people currently live at the Rothera Research Station in Antarctica, huddling around a projector all tournament long. And a restaurant in Svalbard, Norway, believes it is the northernmost World Cup watch party on Earth. Of the 48 teams that kicked off last month, FIFA's top 4 made the semifinals for the first time ever. England earning the 3rd place finish after beating France in tonight's consolation. With tomorrow's finals being likened to the Super Bowl, with Madonna, Shakira, and BTS among those headlining a first-of-its-kind halftime show. And for the first time, the winner won't just get a trophy, but also custom championship rings, a nod to an American sports tradition. Whit?
It's going to be quite a show. We'll be there. Christian Cordero, thank you. Now to that dramatic rescue on a Texas highway. The police officer hailed as a hero after racing in to save a man trapped in a burning vehicle. The new details coming in tonight. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
Tonight, heart-stopping moments on a Texas highway.
Get out of the car now! Get out! Get out! Get out!
South Lake Police Corporal Joshua Swisher conducting a traffic stop about 30 minutes outside Dallas when dispatch alerted him to a nearby vehicle with heavy smoke. In this dashcam footage, you can see flames erupting underneath the car and quickly spreading. Without hesitation, Corporal Swisher sprinting to the car, a man trapped inside, the door handle breaking off as the officer tries to open the door.
Come out of the car, open it, open it, get out! Get out! Come out through the window!
The officer then breaking the glass window, pulling the man out.
Give me your hand, give me your hand, give me your hand now. I got you. Get me out. All right, you okay? Anybody else in the car? Is there anyone else in the car? No.
Swisher was given the South Lake Police Department's Meritorious Conduct Award for his actions.
Whit, that award is the department's second highest honor. The driver involved is okay tonight. Whit.
Incredible video. Jacqueline Lee, thanks so much. Next tonight, the backlash against AI data centers is growing with protests from coast to coast in dozens of states today. The issue uniting many Americans across the political divide. Here's ABC's Alex Perchet.
Tonight, a growing debate over data centers as a number of demonstrations play out across the country, from Atlanta to Berkeley, California.
We want to slow down AI data center development. We want to slow down AI in general and stop big tech from infringing on our local communities.
The explosion of data center construction projects, the byproduct of the AI and cloud computing boom. That skyrocketing growth also prompting new scrutiny as communities housing these centers say they are bearing new burdens of heightened water and power usage. This week, New York became the first state to halt construction of new large data centers, the governor imposing a one-year moratorium. In Granbury, Texas, just outside of Fort Worth, residents have filed petitions to recall their mayor and several city council members after the city annexed property for a new data center site.
Somehow you have to communicate to the local politicians, we're really upset and your job is at risk.
The debate now making its way to Washington. President Trump blasted the move by New York's governor, Trump touting one of the biggest driving forces in the future for jobs are data centers. Both the taxes and jobs amount to liquid gold. But even members of his own party acknowledge regulations may be needed.
While there are real issues to discuss and there are regulations to put in place, New York's decision to do an outright ban is only going to negatively impact its economy.
And ahead of this fall's midterm election, a number of Democrat and Republican candidates are framing their campaigns around data centers. A recent Reuters Ipsos poll found just 14% of Americans support a data center being built within their community. Whit?
All right, Alex Perchet for us tonight. There's much more ahead on World News Tonight this Saturday. A dangerous fall into a Philadelphia manhole and the heroic effort to pull a man to safety. A major announcement from Major League Baseball about artificial intelligence, and caught on camera, a massive construction crane comes crashing down onto homes in Chile. Next tonight, a manhole rescue in northeast Philadelphia. Emergency crews spent more than 30 minutes pulling a man from a manhole in the Bell's Corner neighborhood. Initially, firefighters were unable to remove the cover, so the Philadelphia Water Department was called in to assist. Next, strong, heavy winds and rain sent a construction crane crashing into a Chilean neighborhood. It's about 250 miles north of Santiago. Video captured the moment the crane toppled onto homes and cars. Officials are investigating what caused the collapse. When we come back, the runner who set a new world record after it stood for more than a quarter century. To the index now, Major League Baseball is putting a limit on artificial intelligence. The MLB is restricting how teams use iPads in the dugout, blocking custom apps that could use artificial intelligence. League officials say the move is meant to keep those choices in the hands of players and coaches. Tonight, a record that stood for decades is shattered and a new king of the mile is crowned. 28-year-old British runner Josh Kerr ran a 3-minute and 42-second mile in London today. This beats the record of 3 minutes and 43 seconds set in Rome back in 1999. Kerr was a silver medalist in 2024, the Paris Olympics. Still to come, a special summer camp in Dallas delivering confidence and new opportunities. Finally tonight, the innovative summer camp opening doors and building confidence. America Strong.
These campers are having the time of their lives at this innovative summer camp. Known as Right Moves, it's an adaptive therapeutic dance program at Scottish Rite Hospital for Children in Dallas for patients 8 to 16 years old with mobility differences. For some, like 8-year-old Madison Goolsby, it's their first ever camp experience.
I never did that, but today I did.
Madison has been treated at Scottish Rite since she was a young girl. Her mother, Ashley, grateful for this unique opportunity.
It's honestly a blessing.
Hospital recreational therapists are encouraged by the difference Right Moves is making for these campers.
They get to come and have fun, build new friendships, meet people who maybe like them in some ways.
It just made me feel great. I love love dancing now. It's my new thing.
The program hoping to give children of all abilities a fun summer camp experience, complete with new skills, new friends, and a new sense of confidence. Thanks so much for watching tonight. I'm Whit Johnson in New York. Have a great night.
David Muir, the most trusted, most watched newscast in America. And now, World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 4th year in a row.